Hello world of Pokemon, this is Daniel, owner of the Player Completionist channel, also known as Picomp, and today we are up to trouble and seeing double. There's one more complex decks video. There will be no intro again because I'm still making the new one. So guys, I'm here again today for the LeafGreen part of Generation 3. As mentioned in the Emerald video, this generation was a double challenge. So we get extras for Emerald and vice versa to trade between them. At my left, you can see the basic rules for this challenge. Any questions can be made or answered in your dedicated video of the rules linked below. About LeafGreen specific rules, the good thing is that we already caught Kanto forms in the original yellow video, so we only need to get the 386 for the complete national decks. And about Safari, we had to breed all Pokemon caught there, so they changed from Safari Balls to regular Pokeballs. Another information is about the video structure. First thing is that this challenge was completed in 4 different phases. The first one was the catching phase, where we went into the wilds and collected Pokemons in their different locations. The second phase was the extra catching phase, where we caught Pokemons in extra games because they are exclusive to them or because we need extra Pokemon that are limited in LeafGreen. The third phase is the breeding phase. Using Pokemons from Safari or other games, we make eggs to have a full national dex with our base LeafGreen, OT and ID number. The last step is the evolution phase, where we use different methods to evolve Pokemon in their respective necessary forms. The last thing I need to say is that when I show the Pokemons caught in this video, if I for some reason had to caught any extras of them, they will be shown right after. Like for example here, EV is caught Pokemon for Evolve, BR is an extra Pokemon caught for breeding, FM is for Gander or extra forms, and lastly EM is an extra Pokemon caught to be traded for Emerald. Well, I think that's it for the intro. Again, sorry for the long one, but now enjoy your complex decks. Some days after starting your Pokemon Emerald journey, we embarked on another adventure in Kanto. Adhering to our standard approach, we received our starter Pokemon, intentionally lost the first battle, collect Pokeballs, caught a random Pokemon and stored Charmander in the boxes. Upstream, we secured 2 crucial captures, Snorlax on Route 16, and Epino during the Savvy Islands quest. Additionally, we acquired the Dumb Fossil throughout our journey. Post storyline completion, we faced challenges without a dedicated catcher. Nonetheless, we successfully captured Rattata and PJ on Route 1. Proceeding to Route 3, we secured Nidoran female, Jigglypuff, and unexpectedly encountered a rare male Nidoran. Passing through Mount Moon and reaching Route 4, we caught Sandshrew. Surfing wielded Tentacool. With some fishing, we reeled in Magikarp with Old Rod, Horsey with Good Rod, and Gyarados with Super Rod. Route 5 gave us Meowth. Continue on Route 6, we secured Poliwhirl with Super Rod and Poliwag with Good Rod. We then targeted specific routes for singular captures. Vulpix on Route 8 first encounter, Voltorb on Route 10, Drowsy on Route 11, Jiro on Route 14, Doduo on Route 16, Tangela on Route 21, and Bellsprout on Route 24. Returning to initial routes, we caught Monkey and Spearow on Route 22. Our day concluded in Viridian Forest with Widow and Caterpie. We acquire a Scyther with False Swipe to help with our catches. We focus on getting only one Pokemon, avoiding extras for now, because we aimed to complete 60 Pokemon for National Dex access. But anyway, this live started with an extra Widow to evolve and 2 Caterpie, one to evolve and the other for Emerald. We concluded Viridian Forest captures with Metapod. At Mount Moon, we secured Zubat, Paras, and Geodude. Diglett Cave wielded Diglett, and at Pokemon Mansion, Grimer. Rock Tunnel gave us Machop and Onix. Surfing to Power Plant, we caught Magnemite and Magneton. Super Rod helped us obtain Staryu in Pallet Town and Seeking in Fuchsia City. Returning to Viridian Forest, we caught Kakuna and on Route 12, Venonat. Super Chase Abra and Pinsir at Rocket Game Corner. One Islands Fishing wielded Krabby with Good Rod. Victor Road provided Primeape. Going to Safari Zone, which we only need 4 Pokemon this time, we acquired Highhorn. Remembering that Safari Zone Pokemons need to be bred first to join our total. We grabbed some Pokemons there only to help us reach 60. We finished with Ghastly in Pokemon Tower to secure National Dex access, concluding our live stream. With National Dex unlocked and Smeargle as our catcher, we proceeded to capture additional Pokemon for various purposes, including another female Nidoran for Emerald, 2 extra Jigglypuff, 1 to evolve and other for breeding, 2 extras Horsey to evolve, 3 extra Poliwag, 2 for evolve and 1 for Emerald. We also get an extra Poliwhirl for our in-game trade, an extra Drowsy for Emerald, an extra Vulpix to evolve, and an extra Snorlax for Emerald. Back to regular catches, we obtain Whipping Bell on Route 12, along with an extra Venonat for Emerald. On Route 16, we caught Raticate and an additional Doduo for evolution. Route 24 wielded 2 extra Bellsprout, 1 for evolution and another for Emerald. We also acquire an extra Spearow on Route 22 for Emerald. Further captures included extra Geodude on Mount Moon to evolve, and extra Machop and extra Onix in Rock Tunnel, both to evolve. Returning to Viridian Forest, we caught Pikachu. Our day concluded with Kingler caught using Super Rod in Pallet Town. The next day, we visited Sea Foam Islands and catch a Slowpoke with the Super Rod. Then we head to Cerulean Cave where we can add Parasect and Kadabra to our tally. We made our way to the Savvy Islands where at 5 Island we surfed to find Hoppip. At Kindle Road, we caught Ponyta And at 3 Islet Port, we caught Dunsparce. At 5 Isle Meadow, we caught Sentret. And hooked Hammerade with the Super Rod. At Ruin Valley, we caught Natu and Yama. At Canyon Entrance, we can catch Fancy. We wrap up the day in Pattern Bush by catching Heracross and Ladybug. We're still catching Pokemon in the Savvy Islands. On Mount Amber, we caught Magmar and got Slugma, Macargo, and Graveler, all using Rock Smash. In Icefall Cave, we can capture Swinub, and while surfing, we have Seal and Mario. In the Lost Cave, we can capture Misdreavus in the items room. We also went back to Kanto and captured Dugtrio in Douglas Cave. On Route 13, we had a bit of bad luck and missed a Pidgeotto because he used Whirlwind on the first turn. However, we got our Pidgeotto in the third try. We flew to Route 17 and got Fearow. On Route 22, we had a surprise encounter with the legendary roamer Suicune, which unfortunately didn't result in a successful capture. But on the same route, we got an extra Spearow for an in-game trade. We wrap it up on Route 23 with a Sandslash. Over the next few days, we made some off-stream captures, including 2 extra male Nidoran, both to evolve. We also captured a Clefairy and its Estrus, as well as a Chansey on our 6th attempt in the Safari Zone. We start the day on Victory Road, where we got Marowak and Machoke. On our visit to the Pokemon Mansion, we made the mistake of capturing a Koffing with a Great Ball, which meant we have to release it straight away. After that, we went back to the Safari Zone, where we quickly got our hands on a Kangaskhan. In Area 4, we tried using the bait strategy to catch Tauros but didn't succeed. However, in the 4th attempt, we managed to capture one simply by throwing Safari Balls. We also got Golbat, Slowbro, and Dewgong back in the Siphon Islands, but we didn't manage to capture any Slowpoke extras. In the Pokemon Tower, we are able to get 2 Ghastly extras, one for evolving and one for Emerald, as well as capture Cubone and Haunter. We went back to the Savvy Islands and used the Repel trick to get Tentacruel pretty quickly by surfing on one island. From there, we headed east to catch Rapidash on Kindle Road. We ended with Persian on Treasure Beach and Wobbuffet on Ruin Valley. Returning to the Pokemon Mansion, we managed to capture Koffing with the right Pokeball this time, as well as getting Muck. We head back to Rock Tunnel to get the last extra Onix we needed for Emerald. At the Pokemon Tower, we found an extra Cubone in our first encounter, which we will also send to Emerald. At Mount Amber, we got an extra Magmar which we'll use for breeding and then Emerald. In Berry Forest, we got Venomoth, Execute, and Golding. We went back to Icefall Cave, where the last captures were Sneasel and 2 extra Mario, one for evolving and the other for breeding. We then moved on to Patterbush to capture Spinarak. Back in Kanto, we quickly captured an extra Coffin to evolve, and ended the day in Sivault Canyon obtaining Larvitar and its extras. The next day off-stream, we finished capturing at the last locations in the 7 islands, getting Mantine, Surfing, and Unknown in the Tanabe Ruins caves. We also got 2 extra Slowpokes on the Sea of Fawn Islands, one for evolving and one for Emerald. In this live, we got legendary, gift, and limited Pokemon. Starting at the Rocket Game corner, we brought 2 extra Abras, one to evolve and one for our in-game trade. We also purchased the Trini, and Porygon. In Celadon, we got an Eevee as a gift, and in Saffron, we got Lapras and Hitmonlee. We collected Old Amber in Pewter City so we can go to Cinnabar Island and resurrect Kabuto and Aerodactyl. We received an egg in the Water Labyrinth, which we hatched in Togepi. At the power plant, we captured Electrode and the legendary Zapdos. Then we went to the Sea of Fawn Island and captured the legendary Articuno in the first Pokeball. To make it up for the quick legendary, the next one took over an hour, but we are able to capture Moltres on Mount Amber. We also got the legendary Mewtwo in Cerulean Cave without putting him to sleep. We ended up the day trying to get Suicune but failed. The day before this live, we captured an extra Lapras in the Icefall Cave to transfer to Emerald. During the live, we performed the in-game trades obtaining 4 Pokemon that won't be counted yet, exchanging Abra for Mr. Mime, Slowbro for Lickitung, Poliwhirl for Jinx, and also Spearow for Farfetch. With that, we finished the catching phase process in LeafGreen. Now we will continue with the extra catching phase process, obtaining Pokemon in other games so that we can breed them and obtaining them with our OT and number. We began by heading to Pokemon Firehead, where we encountered an Ekans on Route 4, an Oddish on Route 24, Psyduck surfing in Celadon City, a Growlite on Route 8, and a Shelder fishing in Pallet Town. We purchased Scyther at the game corner and revived Omanite on Cinnabar Island. We also went to the Sevi Island where we caught a Quillfish in 5 Isle Meadow, a Murkrow in the Lost Cave, a Delibird in the Icefall Cave, and a Togepi egg in the Water Labyrinth. We then returned to Kanto for our last encounter, which was an Electabuzz in the power plant. We also had to visit another game, an extra save from Emerald. There we got a Sudowoodo in the Battle Frontier, and we also got 3 Pokemon that will go into the main save from Emerald first and then LeafGreen for eggs. They are Beldon in Steven's house in Mos Dep City, and the two fossils of this generation, Lilip and Anorith. Continuing the journey in other games, we went to Pokemon Safari to get Lunatone and Meteor Falls, and then went on to Ruby to get Zangoose on Route 114, Rosalian on Route 117, Meditite outside Montpire, and Castform at the Weather Institute. In an extra save from LeafGreen, we got 3 extra Pokemon for breeding, they being Eevee in Celadon City, Kabuto on Cinnabar Island, and Hitmonchan in Saffron. In the following days off-stream, we also got extras of each of the Kanto starters in Firehead: Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. We also evolved Togepi in Togetic to enable breeding. In parallel with the extra catching phase, we carry out the breeding phase, making the necessary exchanges between LeafGreen and Emerald. To discover the extra Pokemon captured in Emerald, watch the Emerald Complex Dex video linked below. On the days mentioned on the card at the beginning of this section, we had to breed several eggs, 216 to be exact. Here's the full list of them. We also got a few eggs from Pokemons already included in the count, as we needed a few extras. 2 Charmander, 5 Eevee, 1 Kabuto, and 1 Togepi. During the breeding phase and a few days after, we captured the necessary legendaries from other games, transferring them to LeafGreen on this day. They will be included in the count as they are not breedable. In Firehead, we captured Raikou. In an extra save of LeafGreen, we captured Entei. While in an extra save of Emerald, we got Regirock, Regice, Rayquaza, Registeel, Larios, Larias, Kyogre, and we finish with Groudon. A few days before this live, we received mythical Pokemon through the vents, getting Jirachi, Mew, and Celebi. On the day of the live, we grabbed 3 Pokemon that we generated in LeafGreen and sent them to Pokemon Emerald due to their evolution peculiarities, evolving Eevee to Espeon with max friendship during the day, Feebas to Milotic with max beauty, and the next day off stream another Eevee, this time to Umbreon with max friendship during the night. After acquiring the 3 Johto starters in Emerald, we transfer them to LeafGreen and get the last eggs we needed. 3 Chikorita, 3 Cyndaquil, and 3 Totodile. Next, we started the evolution phase process, mainly using the enemies in Sebald Canyon as the basis for most of the evolution process. This day we started with the simple ones, such as Pikachu for Raichu using the Turnstone, with the Firestone, Vulpix for Ninetales, and Growlite for Arcanine, while with the Moonstone, Clefairy for Clefable, and Jigglypuff for Igglytuff. Using the Water Stone, we have Shelter for Cloyster, and Staryu for Starmie, followed by the Leaf Stone Execute for Exector. We continue with the evolutions of Eevee, Vaporeon with the Water Stone, Jolteon with the Thunderstone, and Flareon with the Fire Stone. With the Sunstone, we evolved Sunkern into Sunflora, and ended the day with Skitty into Delcatty with the Moonstone. During the same live, we evolved some Pokemon so that later we could do all the trade evolutions off-stream. So we got Onix for Steelix holding Metal Coat, Clamperl for Huntail holding Deep Sea Tooth, another Clamperl, this time for Gourbees holding Deep Sea Scale, Porygon for Porygon 2 holding Upgrade, Poliwag for Poliwhirl and then Politoed holding King's Rock, Slowpoke to Slowking holding King's Rock, Geodude to Graveler, then Golden, Horsey to Seadra, then Kingdra holding Dragon Scale, Abra to Kadabra and then Alakazam, Scyther to Scizor holding Metal Coat, Machop to Machoke and then Machamp, and finally Ghastly to Haunter and then Gengar. After evolving some Pokemon to their middle stage to facilitate the process for the final evolutions, we continued with some simpler Pokemon to evolve, such as the insects Caterpie to Metapod and then Butterfree, Rumple for Suicune and then Beautyfly, another Rumple, this time for Cascoon and then Dustox, Weedle for Kakuna and then Beedrill, and we ended the live with 2 more Wumples, one for Cascoon and the other Suicune. Later off stream, we got the tickets for the in-game event Pokemon, Aurora ticket and the Mystic ticket. Having done most of the evolution process off stream, in the following days we only need to finish evolving 112 Pokemon. Starting this live with Loaded to Lombre, another Loaded to Lombre and then Ludicolo with Waterstone, Seedot to Nuzleaf, another Seedot to Nuzleaf and then Shiftry with Leafstone, Chikorita to Bayleaf, Bulbasaur to Ivysaur, Charmander to Charmeleon, Squirtle to Wartortle, Nidoran female to Nidorina, Nidoran male to Nidorino, another pair of Nidoran to Nidorina and Nidorino and then Nidoqueen and Nidoking both with the Moonstone, Treecko for Grovyle, Torchic for Combusken, Mudkip for Marshtomp, Mareep for Fluffy, Hoppip for Skyplume, Sentret for Purret, Ladybug for Ladian, Marill for Azumarill, Dratini for Dragonair and then Dragonite, Larvitar to Pupitar and then Tyranitar, Highhorn to Rhydon, Aron to Lairon and then Aggron, Trapinch to Vibrava and then Flygon, Beldum to Metang and then Metagross, Sphew to Seal and then Alrain, Bagon to Shelgon and then Salamence. A few minutes after the live ended, we quickly got the legendary roamer Suicune. Continuing the evolutionary process, that day we got Snorunt for Glalie, Bagon for Shelgon, Beldon for Metang, Spheal for Cilio, Anorate for Armaldo, Duskull for Dusclops, Shuppet for Banette, Lilip for Cordeli, Barbosh for Whiscash, Swablu for Altaria, Beltoy for Claydol, Corfish for Crowdaunt, Cacnea for Cacturn, Numel for Camerupt, Spoink for Grumpig, Trapinch for Vibrava, Waymer for Wailord, Carvanyat for Sharpedo, Electrike for Manectric, Gulping for Swalot, Meditite for Magichan, Aeron for Lairon, Makuhita to Hariyama, Whismore to Loudred and then Exploud, Shroomish to Bralon, Sursky to Masqueran, and we finish with the evolution of Nincada, generating Ninjask and Shijinja. At the end of the live, we tried to capture Lugia in Naval Rock, but to no avail. We started the live by getting the two legendaries from Naval Rock. First Lugia, and then Ho. We continued the live by evolving Squirtle to Wartortle and then Blastoise, Charmander to Charmeleon and then Charizard, Bulbasaur to Ivysaur and then Venusaur, Poliwag to Poliwhirl and then Poliwrath with Waterstone, Pyrogue to Hitmontop with Attack Recall to Defense, Chansey to Blissey with Max Friendship, Togepi to Togetic with Max Friendship, Tyro to Hitmonchan with higher defense, Cyndaquil to Quilava, Poochyena to Mightyena, Totodile for Crocodile, Whismur for Loudred, Wooper for Quagsire, Zigzagoon for Linoon, Houts for Kirlia, Hoothoot for Noctown, Omanite for Omastar, Elekid for Electabuzz, Smoochum for Jinx, Kabuto for Kabutops, Natu to Zatu, Hoppip to Skyplume and then Jumpluff, Snubbull to Gramble, Spinarak to Ariados, Hammerade to Octolary, Slackot to Vigoroth, Ekans to Arbok, and finally another Slackot to Vigoroth and then Slacking. Another day of evolutions. This time the winners were PJ to Pidgeotto and then Pidgeot, Psyduck to Golduck, Oddish to Gloom, another Oddish to Gloom and then Vileplume with Leafstone, Horsey to Seadra, Dratini to Dragonair, Doduo to Dodrio, Bellsprout to Wimpinbell and then Victreebel with Leafstone, Chinchou to Lantern, Zubat to Golbat and then Crobat with Max Friendship, Totodile to Crocodile and then Feraligatr, Mareep to Fluffy and then Ampharos, another Oddish to Gloom and then Bellossom with Sunstone, Teddiursa to Ursaring, Fanfi to Donphan, Houndour to Houndoom, Taillow to Swallow, Larvitar to Pupitar, Wingull to Pelipper, and finally Halts to Kirlia and then Gardevoir. To finish off complex decks, we evolved 8 more Pokemon. Koffing to Weezing, Cyndaquil to Quilava and then Typhlosion, Chikorita to Bayleaf and then Meganium, Pineco to Fortress, Treecko to Grovyle and then Sceptile, Mudkip to Marshtomp and then Swampert, Swinub to Piloswine, and also Torchic to Combusken and then Blaziken. The last Pokemon was the mythical Deoxys on Birch Island, which we managed to get in less than 2 minutes with only 6 Pokeballs. So, with National Dex complete, we visited Professor Oak, receiving a big roar, which was better reaction than in Emerald. We also visited Celadon, where we acquired another diploma for our collection. The process of transferring the Pokemon home was simpler, as all we had to do was transfer the Pokemon from Kanto to Generation 4, 5, Pokemon Bank, and finally Pokemon Home. Alright guys, we are here in the Pokemon Home with the Kanto Pokemons we got in LeafGreen, sorry. There's not much to add, we caught a lot of Pokemon. There was a long challenge, but we finally finished. Right, they're all here. Okay, and that's it for today, guys. Thanks for coming, and keep it healthy and safety, boys, and see ya.